Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James Duggan with IGN, and welcome to part 2 of Getting to Night 10 in Kingdom, the Kingdom management game that is soon to be released on Steam. It is coming out on October 21st. Make sure you check it out. I am here on day 6 recruiting some folks in the woods because getting villagers is a #1 priority, as I stated in the first video. There's 2 guys here, and if I remember correctly, no, I think that's actually it. But you know what? We have some gold. Let's explore past this base. A large part of this game is exploration. Looks like that's absolutely nothing there. Okay, so here we have an archer statue. Now, the way this works is I could sink gold into it, and it would buff my archers. Well, I just did. So my archers are going to get a buff for a single day. Definitely not worth it there. In fact, that was a poor use of my gold for this early in the game. But I guess it's good to show you guys how that works. And also, I'm in such a comfortable place at this point. I don't need to worry too much about holding on to every single bit of my gold. Things to spend my gold on at this point, now that I've established a decent fortification and have a single farm, is farmers. You can have anywhere between 2 and 3 farmers to fully saturate farmland. And from my experience, the farmland, I'm a little bit unsure on this, but I think it can actually be completely utilized. So like, for instance, in 5 nights, this farm may no longer yield anything. Now, I'm not 100% sure on that again. And again, I could upgrade this, but I'm not going to do that just because my farmers will die. So let's go back into town. And I think at this point, a pretty good use of my money is getting some catapults, which I've had discussions with my coworkers who played this game about whether or not they're useful. I find them to be extremely useful in those really, really big wave nights because they deal AoE damage, and they can really save your neck. That being said, they're not super reliable. And the way catapults work is, I don't know about words, they're real tough. You just go over here to these arrows, and depending upon which direction you want to send the catapult, you sink gold into either one or the other. This is, again, something you can do at night because this is all happening inside your base, and you don't really need to worry too much about your engineers becoming exposed. Now, the cool thing about this is the engineer will bring it to the furthest outpost. So the very farthest wall is where he will bring that. The engineer does need to be there to reload it. So unfortunately, there's no way to assign an engineer to the catapult. So they kind of just need to be... Okay. Just taking out a bunch of my guys. That's fine. They don't die, though. They just drop their weapons and immediately pick them back up since there are no monsters to steal them. But... anyway, the point I was getting to before is it's another advantage to keep your base kind of tidy at the beginning, is the engineers or builders can work their way towards those catapults and reload them before the wave is done. Now, as I get towards the 10th night, it becomes more of an issue that I cannot upgrade my structures to stone. I created another video showing how to do that, but since we're kind of at that point, I'll also show how to do that right now. All right, so that was a tiny wave. We're not even halfway through the night, and you can see that catapult totally wrecked that one dude. LOL, GG. No re. And at this point, I feel safe enough to go off in this left direction, which is compounded by the fact that I have a completely full coin purse. So even if I were to be attacked, I can just drop some gold. Morning of the 8th day. We are real close to day 10. All right, this looks to be a builder statue, and there's the traveling merchant. Sure, why not? I have a 2 out of 3 chance of those 4 gold resulting in a very good thing. And here is the altar. At least that's what I affectionately call it. And I'm going to sink 7 gold into this. And now I will be spending absolutely all of my gold upgrading my structures. The only thing I have to keep in mind, again, is when I am building. That is super crucial. I do not want to be building going into the nighttime. Sometimes you can do it to just be kind of living on the edge, but you'll get punished for it, is my experience. I think early enough in the day to the point where I'm going to go ahead and upgrade these. The only thing I need to keep in mind is the fact that I do only have 2 builders, but there's a guy without a job, so I'm going to give him a hammer. Get some archers, even though I do have that traveling merchant coming in who will fill one of these up. So I'm just going to let him do his thing, because again, if I get 4 hammers like it did the first time I showed this game off, I'll be mad. And at this point, we can upgrade this to a stone fortress. which will actually just automatically pay for all that stuff to be upgraded. This could be a bad idea. This may be a little bit late in the day to be doing this. But I have faith in my builders. Oh, no, I don't. I totally don't, because they have to upgrade all this stuff. Oh, I made a huge mistake, as Job would say. So let's see how much of this stuff they can get through. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and just get another one to get all this stuff going at this point. Shoot, let's do 2 more. I don't care. I just don't want to lose. Got to dodge all those comments about being bad at video games. Okay, they're making their way over. It is the afternoon. I feel okay about this. We'll see. I really like how the tensest moment is not even during the nighttime for me. It's when I make a bad decision during the daytime. I'm not going to upgrade that again because, again, I forgot to take into account the fact that it'll automatically upgrade these towers if I haven't. These guys are going to have a bunch of gold for me because they were farming all day. It's real nice. As a absolute last line of defense, what I can do is... Well, I'm just going to pick this back up, so I should have done that in the other direction. But I can kind of, like, just drop a bunch of gold here in case there are monsters. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to live on the edge. I will be an early warning system, though. Let's see. I hope there are no monsters. There they are. Oh, looks like we can handle that. That's only 2. I'm not even going to pay just because out of... Oh, well. Yeah, I am. There you go. Take it. Oh. Now, the reason I paid is because I don't want them to take a hammer, because a hammer's worth 3 gold, and obviously a single gold coin is only worth 1 gold. Let's upgrade this. Walls generally should be upgraded before the towers. And again, the towers are... What did he do? It looks like he either did scythes, which would be amazing, but it looks like he did bows and arrows. In any case, maybe scythes. There's a lot of people with scythes. In any case, that's way better than hammers. You just do not want that traveling merchant to build a bunch of hammers. All right, just since we are starting to get towards the end of day 10, and I don't want to leave you on a note that, like, what do I do after this? The next steps would be to clear this forest and start expansion in this direction, or in the opposite direction. Keep in mind, once you do something like that, you can't decommit from it. Those builders are going to go out and clear that. So, and I do also have limited resources. Yeah, so those guys are working on the forest. I'm happy with where my towers are at. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade the town to its final tier, just so I can show you guys what that looks like. And this will unlock my win condition for the entire game, already, just on day 10. This is extremely early. I would go over here, and I would sink a bunch of gold. You know what? I'll do it. Screw it. That's going to create a shield. I can have up to 4 of those. So 2 on either side. And then if I go and recruit a villager, he'll come back, grab the shield, and become a knight. And he'll take 2 archers with him in an elite task force that will advance through the forest to destroy those portals. So you lucky 2 get to be knights. But in order for him to do that, you kind of need to continuously reassure him, not just by expanding in that direction, but also by sinking gold into these banners right here. The knight will advance to this banner, you put a bunch of gold into that banner, and that's how that works. And this is putting me in an extremely comfortable place for day 10. I have to think about how much I want to expand. Probably expansion on the left is better than expansion on the right, despite me sinking a bunch of gold into leveling that forest, just because there are no naturally occurring villager camps over there. So I have to take into consideration how many people I can recruit, because in the later stages of the game, the biggest roadblock, in my opinion, is the amount of people you have. And again, if you spread them out, it becomes difficult to amass an army that's capable of repelling some of those larger waves. So you can kind of have your forces be too spread out, and you'll get a very large wave, and they'll come in and kind of wreck shop, so to speak. This would be super disappointing if nothing happened on night 10, but that could be the case. You never know. Oh, it kind of sounded like something was going on over there. Hey, here we go. Got a little wave. Absolutely nothing. Let's go ahead and upgrade this tower just so I can show you what that looks like. I got my knight advancing with his elite archer squad. I have the engineers coming over here to reload and create, and I'm in a real good place. I would probably get to a point where gold probably isn't an issue. At this point, it's all just about recruiting people. That single farm is kind of enough to sustain me. Once you do upgrade your tower to its max, though, or your base, you get nothing from that chest, which is kind of a slap in the face. So here we go. I could pay for them to advance and attack the portal. I am not going to do that because that's something you should experience on your own. I'm not going to spoil that for you and what that all entails. But yeah, that's it. This took us a total of 10 days, which in my opinion is a very short amount of time in Kingdom. And I'm in a fantastic spot. I could, in my opinion, easily beat the game from here. But I'm going to let you guys figure out the strategy for anything past day 10. For all things Kingdom, keep it right here on IGN.